Hello there. Welcome into another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Excited to talk to you about a subject that I think matters a lot, and it's something that I'm working on still in my own business, and also something that you and every business should be working on. In fact, what we're going to talk about is what I think is the only actual metric that matters in terms of tracking your online marketing at all. If you've got this metric right, then all of the other metrics are secondary. So let's talk about what that is. First, I do want to let you know that if you go to northmaxservices.com/conversions, I'll have the link in the episode notes for this episode. You can go to download my conversion rate cheat sheet that I've put together for you. And I actually use this with all of my clients as well that we do marketing work for. This cheat sheet will show you exactly what, for the different types of campaigns that you're running, you should be looking at for your conversion rates. And spoiler alert, much of what we're going to be talking about, in fact, all we're going to be talking about in this episode of the podcast is email, your email list, okay? Growing your email list. And so your conversion rate on your lead funnels and things like that is going to be really important, even on your webinars and some of your other types of funnels that you're doing. So we definitely want to have those conversion rates nailed down. And sometimes you might be wondering, how do I know if my funnel is working, if I'm acquiring as many leads as I should be, etc.? This conversion rate cheat sheet will get you a lot further and help you on putting that equation together. So again, go to northmaxservices.com/conversions. You can download that entirely for free. Let's talk about this for a minute, have kind of a candid conversation here about this. So in business, it's really easy to get focused on the wrong things. And especially if you're into marketing at all, there are lots of different teachings around, like the people who teach the ads want you to be looking out for like certain numbers that matter to them. And the people who teach hardcore sales, they want you to be looking out for certain numbers for them. The people who teach content marketing, they want you to be looking at numbers. They want you to have so many people watching the streams and downloading the podcast and all these different ways of actually attempting to measure success. But what if I told you that really there was only one number that mattered, only one thing that applies across all of those, because you can actually use this to leverage and get great numbers in the other realms. There's really only one number that matters, and that is how many people are you adding to the email list daily? As the list grows, the business grows, and it almost doesn't matter what business you're in for that to be true. Okay, as the list grows, the business also grows. Now, so how do we then measure that? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's honestly the simplest dashboard that you could possibly hope to have. You're just measuring, well, when somebody comes into my world, how many times does somebody view, okay, the actual landing page or the opt-in or whatever, versus how many times they sign up. So let's say if we're just talking about lead funnels, we're just trying to get leads in the door, you want to have about a 20% opt-in rate at least, or it's not working. Right now, it's perfectly cool to have more than that, and many businesses will have more than that. But for most businesses, if you're averaging less than 20% opt-in rate on your lead magnets, then you're doing something wrong, and you need to tweak something, either the hook that initially brought people in, or the story that you're telling, or the offer that you're making. Something about it is not compelling enough to get them to actually take action and get onto your email list. So that's the key. Now, let me tell you kind of a story to sort of cement this in your mind. I want you to just think back to all of the even high profile business acquisitions that you can possibly think of. The one that really comes to mind for me right off the top of my head is when Facebook tried to acquire, or when they did acquire, Instagram. And then I think they also tried to acquire Snapchat and didn't actually do that, although don't quote me on that. I know they didn't acquire them, but I'm not sure if maybe somebody else did, or because I know they rebranded to Snap or whatever. But I do want you to think about these acquisitions. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think that Facebook could have mimicked the functionality of Instagram at the time that purchase was made? I think the purchase was made for about $1 billion. I believe is the number. I could be wrong on that too. I believe the number was $1 billion that Facebook purchased Instagram for. And so the question is, why? I mean, surely they could have just recreated it. They could have recreated that technology for themselves. Why purchase it? Well, it's because they weren't purchasing rights to any IP, right? They weren't purchasing the development team. They weren't purchasing the creative strategies. No, they were purchasing the customer list, right? Facebook knew that Instagram had customers. I think this acquisition was back in 2012, right? Facebook knew that Instagram had customers that they did not yet have, and Facebook needed those customers. And now look at all of the customers. I mean, Instagram blew up, and Facebook has blown up. So you see how these things work together. My only point in saying that is when you have a customer list, you have it all. When you have people who are ready to buy, and this, honestly, this goes for large scale and small scale, right? I think of my wife. Now, my wife is doing this a little differently. She's not using email. I think most businesses email are where it's at, but there's totally something to having a Facebook group, and especially the kind of business you're in. So she is in the crafting space, and she makes custom crafts, and she has a customer list in her Facebook group. I think I could be wrong, but I think it's around 300 people now who are there in this group for no other reason than to see what new stuff she's coming out with so that they can buy it. And surprise, surprise, she's busier than she can possibly keep up with, okay? And so I can't stress to you enough just how important it is. Again, Facebook groups are one thing. They'll work, but there's danger to that. You can't take your Facebook group with you to somewhere else, right? That's why you want to be building the email list, because you can always take your email addresses with you as you go if you need to move providers or platforms or whatever. And also in this day we live in, there's the threat of cancellation, right? You can't get canceled. If you do get canceled by an email provider, again, if you already have that list, you can take it with you somewhere else. So you're sort of cancellation proof with email. And frankly, email conversion rates are just so high. I think the last metric I looked at, which is, I believe, a number from 2016, 2017, is that emails will convert at about 40% higher than a social media post or something like that. So huge advantage, huge opportunity to go ahead and building your email list and get people waiting to buy from you versus having to go out and push out and try to get new blood to do business with you. When people are already there, they're waiting, they're on the list, they're ready to go, then that is all that matters. So the number of new email signups that you get is the pulse of most businesses, especially most businesses that we end up working with in our agency. So that is a number you need to pay attention to. I would start today. If you're worried about all these other numbers, you're worried about how many people are reading your blog post, you're wondering about how many even sales you made in a day. If you're wondering about open rates on your email, don't be worried about open rates on your email. I mean, unless they're zero, then you've got like a technical problem that needs to be adjusted, right? But these are not the numbers to stare at. The number to stare at is your email. Turn up the dial on your new email prospects, your new acquisitions that you're getting people into your email list. Now, if you're not getting that at all, that's a huge problem, all right? So again, if you're going to try to DIY this and tackle this yourself, I would so highly encourage you to go to northmaxservices.com/conversions, download the conversion rate cheat sheet so you at least won't be wondering about that as you create different campaigns and different kind of funnels. If you are looking for help in your business getting this kind of thing done, then if you go to northmaxservices.com, you can click on the big orange button that says Compass Call, and you can schedule that Compass Call with us, and I'll be glad to talk with you on the phone for about 45 minutes or so just to talk about your business and see what kind of things that we can do to make your business grow going into, as I'm recording this right now, into 2022, but really this will work any time. And I'll take you through the CREST process. I'll work with you one-on-one, hand in hand, to work through that CREST process that I taught in the first few episodes of this podcast. If you haven't listened to those yet, go back, take a listen to those, and if you're on YouTube, check out the playlist because we have it there for you as well. All right, you guys take care. It's a pleasure and an honor and a blessing to be able to speak to you on a regular basis about this stuff. I love marketing, and I just want you to love it too. And most importantly, I want to make it work for your business. And so I would love the opportunity to help you with that. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.